I just saw The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Sorry for the pause. I had to check the title. The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is an international film that it's actually was submitted by Germany, which I was confused by because it's a Persian film. And it's filmed in Iran, but apparently it was filmed in secret by the filmmaker, the writer-filmmaker who was forced to flee Iran after secretly filming it, which is kind of cool. I mean, really sad and a bummer, but also like really cool that the film gets to see the light of day. And so even though the film is fictional, it uses a lot of real life events from Iran, basically following the protest that were in 2022 and 2023 by a lot of youth that were in response to the death of a young woman named Masha Amini. And just, showing a lot about like police brutality and different things like that. So the film is quite long. The film is 2 hours and 47 minutes long. I watched it in 3 sittings, which usually I don't have to do, but because I don't speak Farsi, even though there's actually a ton that I recognized. My high school sweetheart was Persian, so many of the things that they said, I was like, I didn't have to read the subtitle to know what they were saying, which was kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, the film was good. And I love that those types of films are being made. These types of films are being made. I also just love watching international films because, most of the films that you see in the United States, even though the United States has a lot of different races and cultures and ethnicities and all of that, so often what we typically see is the Western perspective and Western culture. So I love the international films because I love anything that centers other cultures and has you as a viewer, especially if you have a Western perspective, be forced to see the world beyond your perspective, kind of, get your head out of your ass, so to speak. So I really loved the different relationships in the film between the sisters, between the wife and the husband and all of that. I definitely don't think the film needed to be as long as it was. But I feel like I always think that. Sorry. And I liked that it showed a lot of the youth questioning their elders and then having the elders have to deal with examining their opinions versus just the kind of default, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to agree with you because that's just what we do and we respect our elders and you must be right and blah, 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 blah. And I just love any movie that points to the hypocrisy of what God is and what religion is and all the different cultures around the world that use God and religion as a way to justify their horrible actions and a way to justify their illegal activity and their immoral activity. And okay, I'm going to talk about details now from the film. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Stop listening if you haven't seen the film and you don't want it ruined. I, of course, the moment they showed the gun, I was like, okay, it's that's good. That's like very classic filmmaking trope and stereotype, but also like it's true. Like you show a gun in the first act. I don't remember. Was it Hitchcock who said that? Anyway, you show a gun in the first act, it's bound to go off in the third act, and that's exactly what happened. I didn't actually foresee that it was going to be the youngest daughter. I thought it was going to be the young woman that was staying in their home. That I thought maybe like she took it. But there was kind of, I really loved a lot of the cinematography in it. And there was a lot of like poetic shots, but I wish that that had existed through the entire film. Like that would have been really cool to have seen. Like I thought it was a little strange, the thing with her like shaving him, because it was very like poetic and almost like a music video, the kind of vibe. And like it didn't really like show up again except for like the very end. I feel like the very end shot showed up for me as very image symbolism heavy and very like poetic, like showing the ring sticking out of the rubble of these investigators. And I also like, part of me is like, is the dad dead? Is he not dead? Did he just fall through? But I think the symbolism of what it was meant to represent is, you know, the times they are changing, like the crumbling of the old guard, literally and figuratively, so to speak. I loved the scene at the end of him kind of chasing them through these different homes and these different things. I thought that was very like metaphorically and beautifully symbolic of their relationship and kind of their distance. And I didn't see it coming that the wife was eventually going to see like how kind of nuts he was and turn against him. But it's almost like the young daughter knew that that's what eventually it was going to get to. And she took the gun for her own protection. The title of the movie, you know, in the very beginning, I'm going to read it right now. Ficus religioso. Oh, it went too fast. I got to go back for a second. Ficus religioso is a tree with an unusual life cycle. Its seeds, contained in bird droppings, fall on other trees. Aerial roots spring up and grow down to the floor. Then the branches wrap around the host tree and strangle it. Finally, the sacred fig stands on its own. So obviously, the quote from the beginning of that, it immediately just makes me think of what I was just talking about, the youth versus the old, or like kind of the times they are changing versus the old guard. And it makes me think of his daughter and her kind of stepping into her independence and realizing just because someone thinks this, or just because my father thinks this, or the government or religion, doesn't mean that it's right and doesn't mean that I have to follow it. So I do really like that little bit at the beginning, and I liked the title. I thought it was great. But yeah, even though it was quite long, it was a very solid film, and, you know, bummer that they can't release it as the film from Iran, but amazing that it gets to be represented in the Oscars and it's getting recognized.